Hello and welcome back to another episode of Little Known Facts. In this episode we'll be answering the question of why you should always finish your course of antibiotics. Let's take an example. You go to your doctors with a sore throat and get prescribed a 7-day course of antibiotics. You dutifully take your prescribed pills, but after 3 days of treatment, you notice your throat no longer hurts and you're back to your usual self. Common sense would suggest that, seeing as you're no longer ill, that you should stop your treatment and not go on to take the remaining 4 days worth of antibiotics. Although stopping your antibiotics when you feel better may seem like common sense, there are some risks that go along with stopping a treatment early. So what are the risks of finishing your antibiotics course early? The theory goes that although you may show signs of recovery, small amounts of bacteria will remain, and after stopping the treatment, those bacteria will begin to multiply in number, leading to reinfection. Alexander Fleming, the man who discovered penicillin and who won the Nobel Prize in 1945 for doing so, gave a warning in his acceptance speech. He warned that if not enough penicillin was given for a streptococcal throat infection, then the remaining bacteria would be resistant to the antibiotic and would be passed on to another person. The theory goes, when you take an antibiotic, it could kill half of the infection after the first day. However, this means the surviving half of the bacteria are those who had the most resistance to the antibiotic. After the second day, it may kill another half of the bacteria, leaving the most resistant 25% of the bacteria, and so on and so on. If you don't finish a course of antibiotics, then in theory, there could be a remaining percentage of hyper-resistant bacteria left over who will go on to replicate, creating a wholly hyper-resistant culture of the bacteria. This type of bacterial resistance is known as targeted resistance. Now that we have learned the risks associated with shorter courses of antibiotics and of stopping antibiotic treatments early, let's now take a look at the risks associated with longer courses or of continued use after symptoms have subsided. A meta-analysis by American Family Physician, completed in 2018, found that for adults, a treatment lasting 3 to 7 days was as good as treatment lasting 6 to 10 days for acute bacterial sinusitis. 3-day treatments were as good as 5 or more days for uncomplicated urinary tract infections, and 7 or fewer days was as good as more than 7 days for pneumonia. The results were even more pronounced in children, with shorter courses being just as effective as longer antibiotic courses. Another argument against the prolonged use of antibiotics argues that the resistance argument is illogical. Instead of a longer course of antibiotics helping to kill off resistant bacteria, the argument is made that it has the opposite effect. Instead, it drives up the selective pressure, which makes it more likely for highly resistant bacteria to flourish, whilst the lower resistant bacteria are killed off by the antibiotic. So, what have we learned? We learned the risks of not finishing a course of antibiotics, namely relapsing back into infection, or causing super-resistant bugs to be created. We also learned that some more recent research may be challenging these arguments, but that for now, until more research is made available, the mainstream medical point of view is to always complete the full course of antibiotics prescribed by your doctor. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and also comment down below for more questions or topics you would like us to answer.